Hey there, YouTube community. Big J here as always. And I'm going to be doing another one of the movie conspiracy theories that I started a while back around the holiday season. This time I'm going to be still talking about Home Alone. Only instead of Home Alone 1, we're going to be talking about the sequel, Home Alone 2. Now, Home Alone 2 was a very great movie of my childhood, also, as the first one was. In fact, as a kid, I actually saw and watched the second one more over the first one, and actually had more appreciation and respect for the second one over the first, because he was lost in New York, he was all by himself, even in a bigger situation than what he was in the original film, where he was just home alone, and that's obviously happened to plenty of kids even back then and even now. And other than the fact that he was able to outwit two burglars, by setting up all those traps throughout his house and everything, and we don't even understand how he even cleaned up all that mess after, such stuff that went down in that first one. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about the second one. And my last conspiracy theory also theorized on the fact that Kevin's uncle, Frank McCallister, could have been responsible for everything that went on in that first one. Like he hires Harry and Marv, of course, to, go to Kevin's house and rob every house in the neighborhood that his brother lived at, and everything, and let alone have Kevin there all by himself, so that way Harry and Marv would get the opportunity to kill him, which isn't a success at all. And and apparently, in theory, his plan got foiled, thanks to Kevin himself and even Old Man Marley too. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about how I think Frank was in fact the culprit of the second one, perhaps too, although it may not really be a direct him being responsible completely 100%, but there are some things I've noticed about Home Alone 2 after I've reviewed the theory about Uncle Frank being responsible of what happened to Kevin in the first movie. I've come to the conclusion and have reason to believe that Frank may have partially caused some of what happened to Kevin in the sequel, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. There's not a lot of stuff that proves it here compared to the first movie theory, but there are some that are kind of a little bit obvious, that kind of suggest that he may have possibly been responsible for Kevin getting lost in Home Alone 2 and all that happening to him, as well as Harry and Marv running into him. But I'm going to kind of, explain that and break that all down, but it's not going to take me as long, because compared to the first one about Frank being the main antagonist of that movie and the culprit behind everything that happened in that, there's not really as much ample evidence that proves it for the sequel. But I will go on ahead and break that down right now. Okay, the second movie, of course, starts out, like the first one, only Harry isn't there dressed as a policeman, because apparently him and his buddy Marv are escaping jail during a prison riot, and they plan to go to New York or wherever they can, wherever the truck will take them, so they can end up getting some, counterfeit passports so they can go into a foreign country and commit extradition. That was obviously the plan between Harry and Marv in the second one, but a little beside the point. What happens at the beginning is that Kevin has to go into the bathroom to get his tie, for the Christmas pageant, and apparently Uncle Frank's taking a shower. Kevin, of course, his dad told him to quickly run in there and get his tie and not look at anything, but Kevin doesn't really do that, does he? Instead, what Kevin does is he walks into the bathroom, and Kevin, he walks into the bathroom and he hears his uncle singing the Cool Jerk in the shower, and of course all Kevin really needed to do was just, quickly grab his tie off the bathroom doorknob and not do anything, but instead, he stands there and looks at him through the shower curtain as he's as he's singing the Cool Jerk by the Capitals, an old classic oldie hit. But anyway, he's singing that song on the top of his lungs in the shower, and Kevin stands right beside the door and he records them with his like little mini tape recorder. And then, apparently, unfortunately for Kevin, Frank catches him and says, you know, that quote. But yeah, that happens, and what happens alongside that is that next thing you know, you see him at the Christmas pageant, and apparently, I think, kind of like the thing about, you know, Buzz ordering all that pizza and getting a cheese pizza and eating it all, so Kevin would, you know, throw that tantrum that got him sent to the third floor. Anyway, this is kind of a similar case scenario, because at the Christmas pageant, Buzz humiliates Kevin during his solo, not to mention how they had to wake Frank up for it and all that. Like, Frank didn't really care about the Christmas pageant, but he may have possibly put Buzz up to the fact to humiliate him and all that, and to knock all the other kids who were laughing at him and all that, you know, were in the pageant and all that, and ruin it and everything. And but he kind of knew that it would probably lead to their family meeting, to where they're gonna have to like apologize and everything. And apparently, yeah, that doesn't go down so smoothly, because Buzz also calls Kevin that name. And then, well, you know, even as before Buzz officially apologized, after Buzz says my prank was immature and ill-timed, and then Frank even like says, immature or not, it was actually pretty damn hilarious. But anyway, yeah, after that happens, you know, I mean, it's like that's proof that Frank may have set this up so that Kevin would get on the wrong plane and just end up lost in New York, be it he goes missing or just ends up killed. And he doesn't really care if it's Harry or Marv again or whoever he runs into. It's just, you know, he just wants Kevin out of his life, you know. Frank really has no respect for Kevin, for who knows what reason. Yeah, I highly doubt Kevin's really done anything initially to Frank to have him this mad and angered at him. But, yeah, that happens, and then after Kevin refuses to apologize to Buzz after finding out that his apology was fake, kind of like just in Sacrante when he whispered that name and called him that. Anyway, he goes up to the third floor and, yeah, just decides to spend the rest of the night up there, because he doesn't want to apologize to Buzz, because he thinks his brother doesn't deserve that apology. And then, of course, the next morning, they, of course, end up waking up in disarray. Kevin, of course, this time gets to join them on the airplane vans, but turns out, you know, that, yeah, he asked his dad for batteries on the plane, and apparently, you know, his dad had the batteries in his bag, and then he grabs, you know, I mean, I don't know if Uncle Frank really set this part up or not, but, yeah, I mean, just the whole idea of Frank, you know, doing, you know, because he knows they left him behind before, home alone all by himself, when they went and visited, you know, his brother and Pete's brother in France on the last movie. So, in this case, you know, he knows he doesn't want Kevin joining him for his trip. You know, I mean, he even said to him, you
better not wreck my trip, you little sourpuss. Your dad's paying good money for it.
Then, of course, Kevin comes with the comeback. Well, who wouldn't want to spoil your fun, Mr. Cheapskate? Yeah, even Frank, you know, was kind of shocked that Kevin went that much out to give him that much of a comeback, kind of by the way his eyes kind of rose up. But yeah, I mean, but other than that, I don't really see a whole lot of proof or evidence that really claims that Uncle Frank could have set up what went on in the second film compared to that first one. But anyway, that's my theory. Anyway, I hope y'all like it. And yeah, I guess this will be my last movie conspiracy for a while, if not maybe my last one ever. Anyway, you all take care.